competitive community development fund programs are programs that are funded through our community development fund or our federal funds. So that would be community development block grant, home, and then also some local funds. And we fund a few programs that don't come in competitively through our grant application process, and there's a few different reasons for that. The first two that are on this list, the MyPAT program and the Housing Outreach Program, are programs that are provided by the county directly. So it doesn't really totally make sense for those programs to compete for those funds. And generally it's based on level of demand and the level of service that's being provided. And then the Promotora program through Bugada is a program that's in the county's base budget, and it's funded annually through general fund. And then we sort of manage it on our end because we manage other Bugada contracts, and it kind of just made sense. And it's very closely related to some of the other stuff that the county does. So with that, we're going to go a little bit out of order based on what's on this list here. And first, we're going to hear from Saul Reyes about the Promotora program, and he's just going to give a quick overview of what they have been up to the last year and kind of talk about anything new or different or exciting that they're doing in the next year. So I will pull up your PowerPoint now.
Thank you. Well, yes, excited is the word. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you all for your time and allowing us to talk about our program and the work that we do in the community. So as you see here, our program is called the Promotora program, and Kaylin's going to be helping go through the slides. So if we can get started going to the next slide, Caitlin. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So to give you a quick overview, and I've worked on condensing this presentation so I don't take a lot of your time, so I'm going to try to be brief. So the Promotora program is a culturally competent neighborhood-based system of care that seeks to provide low-income immigrant households with a continuum of education and advocacy that are accessible and culturally relevant. And so we primarily work with the Latino and low-income immigrant community here in Arlington County. And with the goal is to engage community members to develop and strengthen their support systems. So, for isolated residents, particularly in the areas of access to services and civic engagement. So that's one of the things that Kaylee mentioned, that this is related to some of the other work. And later on, I'll tell you some of the projects that we've worked with in partnership with some of the Arlington County departments. Now, one thing about this work is that it's a network that we've been building. I'll tell you a little bit more about the organization, but as we've gone through the years, we've been working on setting up this network that has become very useful at times of crisis and need. One great example was during the pandemic when COVID-19 pandemic, when everything shut down and people were in lockdown. Having this network was very useful for us because we were able to communicate with community residents, and they themselves could communicate with us to find out about services that were available, resources, and sending information out that Arlington County wanted out, and specifically to get to the most vulnerable populations that were in need and lacked access to getting information or being connected online and through the internet and using technology. So another thing that the program does is that as we work with the community, we also do some casework, and through those we identify gaps and systemic gaps that help inform and leads to prevention, advocacy, and policy work. So as we identify issues, we work with our partners in Arlington County, whether it's the Housing Division or with the Department of Human Services, and let them know about issues we're identifying. And so we work together to come up with solutions. We could go to the next slide. So the need is how the program came to be is that many immigrants are not familiar with the formal delivery systems, and often they tend to be distrustful of approaching, say, a government agency, as you all already know, in the times that we're living as well. It's very difficult for someone to approach, especially a government agency, or go to a government department for help. And so there are also another group of immigrants who may have already been in the country or living in Arlington for a longer time, but feel that they have approached the formal services, but believe they were not served because of language barriers, cultural barriers, or legal barriers. And so what happens is that this leads these residents to face unemployment, lack of decent and affordable housing, and decreased opportunities for participation in main society. Next slide. Civic engagements, as I mentioned earlier, is a big component of it, and is another need that is needed within these communities, because they need encouragement to participate. And one of their challenges is that a lot of times they have limited English proficiency, and so they're not able to fully participate. And so through this, we encourage them to participate in community activities and engage as leaders in public forums about issues that affect their daily lives. And we worked for a long time with Arlington County to encourage, having interpretation at meetings, so that meetings could be more inclusive, and that we could include more of, this residents that typically won't get involved because of barriers I mentioned earlier, one of them being language, that they're provided with opportunities to participate. And later on, I'll tell you about some of those engagements we've had during the past year, and going into now and into the future. Next slide. As I mentioned earlier, the Promotoras is a network of residents. And so, as I mentioned, Bogata has been around for since 1992. And building on our existing network of residents and service provider, Bogata serves as the both a connector to services and an outreach mechanism to engage residents using the neighborhood liaisons, who we call the Promotoras. And the Promotoras are trained in community organizing, advocacy, and information about existing services and resources in the community, both government and with partner nonprofit organizations. And they also, very importantly, is that with the training they get, is that these promotoras are then effective disseminators of information and act as a bridge between the formal systems and the communities where they live. And so they provide that direct assistance they learn to advocate for themselves and help themselves, but also the goal is that they can also help a neighbor or a friend or family member. And likewise, they make referrals, community members, to come back to us for any additional assistance. Next slide. So goals and objectives of the program is to identify barriers faced by Latinos and immigrants in accessing county and partner services, and then also to develop these neighborhood navigators to reach the isolated population residents I mentioned earlier, and then to expand our outreach and social networks to educate and empower residents and get them engaged in the community. And finally, is to connect them to county and community service providers and services to improve their stability and quality of life. So if we go on to the next slide. So here are some of the impacts, is that residents gain access to services and programs that provide stability and an improved quality of life for them. I mentioned, how they learn to advocate and help themselves and their neighbors. So it's the sharing of learned experiences with others in their communities. And also civic engagement. So getting that participation in workshops, events, forums, and also testifying at public hearings in the community. And then finally is to advocate for themselves and others in the community. Next slide. So the targets of the program is to conduct outreach to 300 individuals or households and provide delivery of community liaison services and in some case work along with those interactions. And also to participate in host workshops and events related to issues relevant to the community. And how we measure that impact is that on the households who receive one-on-one assistance is where we get that opportunity to follow through and check in with them how their lives have improved or if they access the service that they were looking for. Next slide. And so that's that goes along with the measure of success is like we follow up with the resident and find out if they access the services or the program that they were looking for, or we provided information on, and then some come back and tell us, oh, we learned something we got to host a workshop or at an event. And so they share those experiences. They come back to us and let us know that. And also we measure that when there's an increase of levels of learning and self-confidence and engagement in the residents we work with. And then as well as participation in workshops, presentations at public forums, or testimony at public hearings. Next slide. So here are, let me see if I have something here on the screen that's blocking. There you go. Some of the accomplishments in fiscal year 25 and 26, where residents gain access to services that impacted their life. So in 2025, fiscal year 2025, we worked with 268 individuals or households. And in 2026, this fiscal year to date, we've worked with 157 households. And so they've been connected to food security through our partners at AFAC and other food banks, connected to emergency assistance for both for medical, housing, secured access to cooling and heating subsidies. And we've also helped with interpretation and understanding of letters they receive from landlords, hospitals, insurance and medical bills, all those to many times people lack the literacy proficiency to understand letters. Sometimes they come in with letters even written in Spanish that they need help interpreting. And so we help them with that. Other residents have also secured access to other programs with help by assistant residents fill out forms and apply for programs. And this goes along with what I mentioned earlier with literacy proficiency is like a lot of people need help filling out forms. Some forms may seem simple to fill out, but when you have challenges, those sort of challenges is very difficult. And oftentimes it just, a resident that may be in need is then discouraged to apply for the assistance they need. And the goal is to prevent people ending up homeless because there may be a lease violation, or they could apply for a program that will help with emergency assistance or a housing program such as housing choice vouchers or housing grants. And so if they're discouraged from applying, that's they're at risk of losing their housing. Same with healthcare access, applying for Social Security benefits. We've had a lot of residents come to us with need to apply for passports. It's a very simple application, but there's many people who have fallen into other people in the community charging a lot of money to fill out a simple form. And so we try to help in that. A lot of residents are living paycheck to paycheck. Others have reduced work hours. They don't have a lot of money. And so whatever we can do to help them improve their life and have some stability, we try to help with that. Now, here's what I mentioned earlier, some of the workshops and events that we've hosted or worked in partnership with our partners. We had workshops on information on housing programs that I mentioned previously. Debt collections and scams. Scams it's a big one. So we talk about the different types of scams so that people don't fall victim to them. Eviction prevention, that one is a high demand workshop. People are always interested in that. It's something that we've seen a lot more lately. People are interested in learning more about how to prevent evictions and how to resolve or negotiate with their landlords so that they don't end up going through the eviction process. Mental health was a big one. has been for the last couple of years. And down below, you'll see that we actually did a workshop, not a workshop, a community event that we called the Youth Fest, and we did that in partnership with DHS, and it was focused on the mental health. Financial literacy is also very important, and people really seem to enjoy that one. Leasing, maintaining an apartment, and pest control is another high demand and well-attended workshop, and um, partnerships that we've had with Arlington County. I put down Arlington Transportation Future here. That's something that's part of the comprehensive plan update, but that was being conducted separately. And so we've worked with the transportation folks in the transportation department to host a community meeting so that they could gather feedback from our community. The Youth Fest I mentioned, that was in partnership with DHS. Tenant Summit, this is in partnership with the Housing Division. We've been having that on a yearly basis, so annually. Well attended by the community. It takes a lot of work to get participation in attendance, especially during these times that we're living right now. And then the Arlington Comprehensive Plan update, that's a big one that's taking place right now. We worked with right now, staff is doing the introductory chapter, but that's going to be ongoing work. And so focus groups were organized, and we worked in partnership. This is with CPHD. And so we worked in partnership with the staff to conduct outreach and encourage participation in both focus groups and 2 large community meetings. And so that's ongoing work, and that's for, I guess, the next fiscal year. It's going to continue into that. So if we can go into the next slide. Here you see some of the areas of assistance and community resources. Most common that we provide. One of those is, information about or applying for SNAP benefits. I know it's been very difficult lately. Housing choice voucher, housing grants. When it comes to health, is financial assistance applications, and communicating with the healthcare providers or insurance. Immigration is one of those top issues that have received increased demand lately. So we provide information, referrals to organizations that provide legal immigration support, and resources about those organizations. When it comes to employment, we help out with residents that need assistance on information about applying for jobs, resources, and referrals to organization in the employment center. Food security, that's another one that is on high demand. Actually, I have notes here for some of the top issues, and that is food security is one of the top one, followed by immigration, health and medical, and then evictions, as I mentioned earlier. It's a lot of that going on in the community lately, a lot of need in emergency rental assistance. I know the funds are limited, and so we try to connect residents not only to resources available by the county through DHS and emergency assistance, but also to other organizations that provide financial assistance or churches. Education, information on citizenship, housing programs, and youth and family services through APS, and enrolling their kids in school in Arlington Public Schools. So thank you for so future plans for FY27 is to continue to expand our outreach and our social network to educate, empower, and our underengaged residents, continue identifying barriers faced by Latino and immigrant communities, and working with the county and partners to come up with solutions to solving those problems. Continue our partnership with Arlington County and our nonprofit partners to continue doing the classes, workshops, and having those resources or knowledge of resources available to the community, and then to connect those residents to those programs and resources. And then also to continue engagement on the Arlington transportation future, that comprehensive plan that is ongoing, and also encourage participation in public forums about issues affecting a community. And so with that, we have gotten to the end. And so I thank you for your time and opportunity to present to your commission.
Yes, we have time for a couple questions if anyone has any. All right, not hearing anything. I think we can move on to our next program. Saul, thank you so much for joining us. Great information as always.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation and your time.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you so much. All right, and so next we are going to hear from Jorge Laura from our housing division. He's going to talk about his housing outreach program.
Yes, good evening, everybody. How are you? I hope you're doing fine and digging out of the freezing and the snow. I hope I don't freeze, and even though I'm trying to be fine here, I'm at home. I don't like to be in person, but it is the new resources that we have here. My name is Jorge Lora. I'm the Housing Outreach Program Coordinator for the Low and Moderate Income U.S. Department Housing and Urban Development designated areas, and I have expanded that to wherever we have committed affordable units and marks countywide. This program supports the goals of the Affordable Housing Master Plan and also the Consolidated Plan, especially in the areas about vibrant communities and sustainable neighborhoods. And when I mean by sustainable, it's not just only environmentally, but also socially and economically. Next slide, please, Kaylin. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you a quick overview of my program activities for CD25 and also the highlights on my current FY26 and what is coming in FY27. Around the same time last year I was here and I was in half on this FY25 successful year again for the outreach program. On the referral and support, we referred more than 390 clients to the different county agencies, nonprofit programs. We did about 28 outreach hours at community centers. We provide technical assistance to over 100 people. I stop. I don't know why. Usually I said we and I because I'm usually consider myself part of a group of people that is the outreach program, which many oftentimes I'm the one going out. So trust me on that one. So I went to 21 apartment complexes and talked to the managers about fair housing, integrated pest management control, mall issues, information about where can they refer their clients to county agencies. I gave support to some of the housing division staff and the other staff from DHS. And when I tell them I do sometime translation, as an example, I have a lady from DHS that she want me to translate a pamphlet that I do from time to time, and she wanted it in Manhattan. Yes, in Spanish, I can catch the translations are not the same, but when it's something like that, I have to take a resource to some staff that I know they speak very well, either Arabic or Amharic, and then I make sure that they agree with those the translation are correct. I update brochures. I don't recreate the wheel, but according with the circumstances, I try to do new flyers. On the seminars, I have organized around 31 educational seminars attended by over 400 residents. We did also in April of 2025. So that was after I did my presentation last year, the Living Arlington information was with the Center for Assistance to Families, CAF, a nonprofit partner. This event attended by 160 residents. We got 23 exhibitors, 10 seminars, and the seminar were attended by 149 residents. In October 24, that's for AY25, I partnered with AstraCore to do the home maintenance workshop. We have 5 different workshops and offered 5 workshops focused on home maintenance, attended by 50 residents. Also, we did the engagement part, going out in the community, especially for events done by the Arlington Public Schools, another CPSD partner like the Parks and Rec. And as a result, 245 residents, they received valuable information, not only in rental, homeownership, and believe me, some other things that usually come, questions that are outside housing. And I've been in real estate for a long time. I still have my, as a disclosure, my real estate license, and sometimes we talk about mortgages a little bit with people. Anyway, and finally, I coordinated 2 neighborhood cleanups in the Green Valley and Arlington Mill neighborhoods. A total of 390 residents participated, and we still put a lot of trash and metal on those neighborhoods, over 22 tons. And if I don't stop the people on, especially on Green Valley, we have a lot of metal. If I don't stop these people that come with pickup trucks the night before, they get a lot. And in the morning, I have to tell them, hey, leave some for the county. So next slide, please, Kaylin. So like an old saying, pictures speak louder than words. If you see up in the left-hand side, you have tenant workshops. Finally, we were able to coordinate with some of the resident coordinators for AHC. We did a workshop at the Shelton that include Macedonia apartments. We are doing now over there every 2 months. The same thing, we expanded our outreach to Langston Brown Community Center. We did with Bugara a nice workshop and some other places. In the middle, you will see the Live in Arlington Information Fair, that we have a nice event, and we have a fair housing ceremony there. The speaker was the Equal Rights Center, my good friend Susie McCallahan, and she's going to be doing it again this year. On the right side, you will see the neighborhood cleanup. I mean, yes, the figures talk by itself. Let me tell you a little bit about these cleanups. It's a thought after event by the community. It's not a one day. The flyers, we start putting that like 3 weeks before, and we get calls. What can we throw away? Why cannot do it? And Arlington Mill, is unbelievable the amount of good items that people put outside. People walk the day before, they pick up things like they need a new door, they need a window. It's unbelievable, and it's a well received in the community. And I'll talk more about that later on. On the bottom left side, you will see that we are using a QR codes to, I do some of those posters when we do events, and people can go with their telephone and get into some of the workshops that we had. That event is a little bit popular. Is your home making you sick? You have your phone right now, you can go over there and click it, and you can watch that video. On the engagement side, yes, we are in the neighborhood. We are in the Green Valley, in Arlington Mill, in the with the schools, with the Virginia Hospital, and the Home Show, and the Nova Expo, etc. And the home maintenance workshop, yes, the pictures you see, people were happy, and on is something that we want to keep it. Next slide, please, Kaylin. So this brings us to FY26. This is the current year that we are working on it. In the first 6 months, we have coordinated already from July to December 16 education seminars attended by 219 residents. We have provided over 17 hours of outreach to community centers. It is always fun going talking to people and hearing the stories. If I tell you all these um, stories and things that I work with, you will not believe. I can write a book about that. The Also talking to managers. A good time to go and talk to the managers is in the middle of the month. Never go the first week or the last week of the month, and between 10 and 11. I usually stop by, go and ask to talk to them for 5 minutes. I don't have a meeting. I just get there. And sometimes the meeting gets into 10 and 15 minutes according what how I receive the information. Usually I start with the fair housing, the human right poster that many of these apartments they don't have, or if I given to them before, they have the outdated that is the new one. And when I start telling, you know how many protected classes we have in Arlington County, and they hesitate. Then I tell them, and that's when they start listening to me. Then I organized with a nonprofit AstraCore the home maintenance workshop. That was the last October, and we have a new workshop. That was a car maintenance workshop. And I have some people debating, why do you want to do car maintenance? Well, right now, a car is important as you work. You're going to do, I mean, you are a tenant, you're a homeowner, you need to have a car to move. Even though they said Arlington County is, you can use public transportation, but still some of the works are not around here or in DC, so it's a little bit harder. So that was well attended. We have 70 residents. We participated in a community event in September on Green Valley Heritage Day or the Green Valley Day, and then at Tidal Hill, that was in August Park. In the next 6 months, I will coordinate workshops. I will stop by community centers again. I will be in the Green Valley Day. That will be on the 21st of this month. And next week, we're going to be at the Virginia Hospital with the homeownership program and Langston Boulevard Air Day. If you can see on the left side here on the pictures, this is the Sunday after the housing fair that we're going to have, but we managed to cover that. We get a lot of hits on that day to talk to people and get information. And you see on the pictures too, next to that Air Day, I received I guess a 25-year service diploma by the manager. That was a big thing for me. 25 years working for the county. Actually, next month it's going to be 26 years. So then we are going to be coordinating the cleanups for Green Valley and Arlington Mill neighborhoods. I already talked to my good friend Daniel Gray. He is the new boss over there at the solid waste. It used to be Cheney Jack, but she is a big director now after the top director retired. So my good friend Daniel talked to me last week. I tell him I need this day. He said, "Yes, George, we'll do it." So that's on the books already. They have the dates. We have the time. I Now the last two I want to discuss a little bit with you. Some of you probably don't know that at the end of the month, I drive by my inspections. I still do at least two designated areas that Green Valley and Arlington Mill, but I go by the other ones too, like Arlington View, Long Branch Creek, sometimes even Radnor Fort Myer or Westover. And I can say that together with code enforcement and with other players, we have bring all these neighborhoods to right now they are in a good position. They are vibrant. What I mean by vibrant, they are happy where they live. They are proud where they live. If you see those signs over there, let me know, like the one that I have here on the pictures on the left. If either zoning or code enforcement does not pick it up, I'll do it. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see on those neighborhood graffiti. If I see graffiti, I take a picture. I send it to the police, or I talk to the manager, and they take care of that, because that's the first sign when we have gang members. They want to mark their territories, so we want to stop that it doesn't come back the way it was a long time ago. So when the people see me driving the county car, they start cleaning and repairing, because they see, oh, the inspector is coming back. So that still works, just looking at me and driving by these neighborhoods. And also responding to clients from community centers and housing service provider referral. That's another big one. And the other one in the pictures that you see, that was an apartment complex where they have all those potholes. And I talked to the manager, a good friend of mine. She said, George, the owners or the management, they don't want to do it. They don't want to fix it. I said, well, you know what I'm going to do? She said, please do it. So I get in touch with my good friend in code enforcement, which I have a good relationship. It was a new inspector that he used to be the maintenance guy for Woodbury Park Apartments. And he said, yes, Mr. Laura, we'll do it. We'll work it out. So that's why they patch it. So it really works. Next slide, please, Caitlin. And I want to invite you, April 25, 2026, we're going to have the Arlington Housing Fair. Today I was working on that with Terry Boone, she is the communication specialist. We are doing the webpage in the county. I used to work this event with a nonprofit called Center for Assistance with Families. I'm working now with AstraCore, Center with Assistance with Families, with a good nonprofit, but they spread a little bit bigger. They receive funding in Alexandria. They receive funding in Prince William, and I feel like they are very busy over those areas. And I want to bring the workshops in a different way, just housing. I call it life, because what I try to do under an umbrella, try to bring employment, health. But when we did with health, we had over 500 people. Most of the people were for the flu shots or for the testings and all that. They didn't want to go to my workshop. At one time, I had to take some of the presenters that were having 2-3 people to the area where the people were waiting so they can do the workshop. So it really didn't work it out. So I decided to do now the Arlington Housing Fair, in which we're going to have, you see the workshops, we're going to have workshops for tenants, which is our first-time home buyers. So the first on the green room is going to be for like a post-purchase. Nobody's doing these workshops. And you buy a house, and then you need information about budgeting and financial stability for new homeowners. I put it for homeowners, and sometimes if you are a long-time homeowner, you need that class too. When you buy a house, sometimes you want to do the big opening, you buy furniture, you new painting and all of that, and new patio furniture or whatever, and then in 3 months you are in debt and you cannot pay the mortgage, or the same thing when you have a new apartment. So this is we are taking the Arlington Housing Fair, plus the webpage is going to be on the county. It will be easy to manage. Next slide, please, Katie. And this brings me to whatever is coming after July. And pretty soon I'll be working on this, on the yearly fairs. I'm planning to maintain the home maintenance workshop, the Arlington Housing Fair, April 2027, tenant landlord workshops, homeowner workshops. We're going to be there. And let me pause here a little bit and just mention to you that last December, I thought was going to be my departing day from the county, have extended to December of this year. And who knows? I think I might finish the FY27. Now, on the neighborhood cleanups, I will tell you that it's something that should be maintained. It's such a wonderful program that and even I get the environmental services to keep it at the same price for like the last 20 years or 25. They never raise the price. They always find a ways to work with us to keep it in that amount for the work that they do, for every improvement that brings to these communities. I wish I can clone myself to do it in 4, but the other neighborhoods is a different thing. So that's my program. If you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorge. Does anyone have any questions for him? There's a lot going on as it relates to education and outreach. All right. Well, moving right along. Thank you so much, Jorge. We will move on to Akiria Brown, who is our homeownership programs coordinator. And she's going to talk a little bit about the Moderate Income Purchase Assistance Program and all that she does to help individuals become homeowners in the county.
Thank you, Caitlin. I am sharing my screen, but I don't think you guys can see it. So I'm going to stop and try to share again.
Oh, we could see it.
Oh, could you? Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. Let me put this in. There we go. Okay.
We are seeing your notes slide now.
Okay.
You could do, if you go to display settings, you can just swap the screens.
How's that?
I'm not seeing anything now.
Okay. Okay. Now, can you see this?
I can see the PowerPoint. So can you do start slideshow?
Yeah, let me try that again.
Yep, perfect.
Does that work? Okay,
yep.
Great. Okay, great. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity to present again this evening. Again, my name is Akiria Brown, and I work in the housing division with Jorge and Caitlin, but my role is primarily homeownership programs. So I'll be walking you through the Moderate Income Purchase Assistance Program, just giving you information about our performance trends, programmatic goals, as well as what we're doing moving forward. My goal is just to ultimately give you a clear picture of how the program is functioning, who we're serving, and what opportunities we have for improvement. So the MyPat program is a second trust loan that works alongside a buyer's first trust mortgage. So think of it in the sense of if someone has a first trust loan with, say, Bank of America, we come alongside that first trust and help buyers. And our funds can be used flexibly to assist with down payment, closing costs, or to help buy down the interest rate. Our loan, or the MyPap loan, is a deferred loan, which means that it has no monthly payments and it carries a 0% interest rate. This loan is repaid at resale or refinance along with a share of the appreciation. This shared appreciation structure allows the county to recycle funds and to support future buyers. The term of the loan is 30 years, but repayment can be triggered earlier if a home is sold or refinanced. So eligibility for MyPAP is structured to ensure that the program serves moderate income households who are mortgage ready. Again, the income limit is at 80% of the area median income, with examples shown for one-person households and households of four. So buyers must have a minimum credit score of 660 and a minimum 1% down payment to contribute toward the transaction. Currently, the maximum MyPAP loan is $112,500 or 25% of the purchase price, whichever is lowest. The purchase price cap is $500,000, which effectively limits the program to condos and a small number of townhomes or duplexes. Not even townhomes these days, but primarily condos, and there are a couple outlier duplexes that we have been able to support. Properties must be in Arlington, and buyers must meet a 45% debt to income ratio. So these criteria tend to balance the risk management along with the access to affordable homeownership in the county. So this slide shows a total annual spending from FY18 to FY25. You'll notice fluctuations that reflect both market conditions, such as interest rates, as well as the availability of available units or eligible units, which again have to be units below $500,000. Here we're looking at the average MyPAP loan over the same period of time. So for FY25, the average loan that we provided to eligible buyers was $92,980. Loan amounts have generally increased as home prices have increased, even within the condo market. So this trend also reflects buyers needing more assistance to remain competitive in the high cost environment like Arlington. This slide shows the average purchase price for MyPAP assisted homes. Prices, again, have steadily climbed, which aligns with broader market appreciation in Arlington. Even within the condo segment, affordability continues to tighten, which affects both who can participate in the program and how far those dollars stretch. So these charts illustrate who the program is serving in terms of household size and the types of units that are purchased. As you can see, most buyers are single and two-person households, which aligns with the condo-heavy inventory. And primarily, households are purchasing two-bedroom units, 1 and 2 bedroom units with MyPAP. This slide highlights the borrower demographics over time. So as we can see from FY18 to 25 and even now in 26, white or non-Hispanic buyers make up the majority of participants. Black and Hispanic buyers participate at lower rates despite being disproportionately represented among households that face homeownership barriers. But we continue to do outreach for these households and outreach across the board to try to ensure that households that would be income eligible to be able to purchase along with MyPAP would be able to access the program. So based on the county's 2024 homeownership study and our administration of this program, we identified 3 major goals for FY26. For MyPAP, first, we want to continue to implement programmatic changes to streamline the application process and to reduce redundancies. One of the redundancies that we have is we have an overlay of a credit report, a credit score criteria, which we've identified as not necessary. So we will be reducing redundancies such as that one. And this includes alignment with requirements with federal standards where appropriate. And secondly, we'll be updating the workflow of both our external applications and our internal loan processes to improve the clarity of those documents. And thirdly, we want to continue to expand our homebuyer training and outreach to ensure that eligible households, especially those that are underrepresented, are aware of the program and are prepared for the program. These changes aim to strengthen the program's impact and improve the user experience. So with that said, I can answer any questions that you might have.
And Chris, just to answer your question, yes, we will share all the presentations from tonight on the website along with the recording. Does anyone have any questions for Akiria? All right. The quiet group tonight. Well, thank you, Akiria.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Can you hear me? I have a
Yes.
question. How can we promote, because I think the data that you offered was very interesting, especially when it came to the demographics. How can we promote or encourage not just the county, but the county partners, such as other nonprofits, to encourage people of other groups to apply into the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think just ensuring that people know that the program is available. The county's website has all of the details of the program. So if you search Arlington County MyPAP, we work alongside a lot of different organizations, both internally and externally, to ensure that information can be disseminated to the public. We have several channels of dissemination of information, but largely what we find is even before applying for the program, people really need to get the homeowner education, because oftentimes, people hear that, oh, I can buy for just as much money as I can rent monthly, and that's actually not accurate in Arlington, especially when we are thinking about condo fees. It can be a grave challenge. So really what we want people to be able to do is to take the homebuyer education classes, and that information is on our website as well. But homebuyer education classes really do assist buyers in coming up with a strategy or a plan, even if right now is not the time for them to purchase, but they will have a financial plan, they will have a structure, an idea of what the market looks like in Arlington, and a path forward. And then it just really does help them to have realistic expectations about the homeownership market in the county. So I certainly encourage folks to pursue homebuyer education, even if they don't apply for the county's down payment assistance program, because we know with education, we're empowering people with information that they may or may not use in the county. The county's inventory may or may not work for them, but we want to ensure that people are empowered with the information to be able to move forward. But my contact information is on the slides. I am happy to answer additional questions or provide any more insight.
Laura, go ahead.
Thank you.
Hey, Akiria. This is more of a observation than a question, but it seems to me like for this program, a real target of opportunity is people who are currently renting privately owned condos in the county, because when it seems like a real, challenge for those folks is your landlord, the condo owner, says, okay, it's time for me to sell. And oftentimes that means that the renter's got to go, right? And so they're thinking, well, I'd love to stay in my condo, but I can't afford to buy it myself, or I don't know that there's a path for me to do that. And so rather than find another apartment in Arlington, maybe I'll go to Fairfax and find something cheaper. And so maybe there's an opportunity, and I don't know if you do any of this, or even if the like information is available to zoom in on that, but like, is there some marketing that can be done to condo owners who currently rent their units to let their renters know if they're thinking, you know, if a condo owner who's ready to sell, to let their renter know, hey, this program's available, because there's already presumably sort of a trusted relationship between landlord and renter, and that may be a way to help people not only stay in Arlington, but actually like stay where they are and be able to purchase their rented condo. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. We of course have several different subgroups of folks that we market to, and I think this is another one that we can, certainly look into. We have over the past maybe 3 years helped several folks purchase the condo that they were renting. So I think it's a great point, Laura, that we could in some way try to ensure that those households at least know that the information, that the resource is available, and they can pursue it if it's something that works for them, as well as a potential landlord that might have that information on hand that he could provide to his tenants if he or she is ready to sell. So I think it's a great idea, and I thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, and I'm like racking my brains trying to think if there are any like data sources available for either independently owned and rented condos or renters who are renting specifically from a private landlord. But I can't think of any, but maybe they exist.
Yeah, I think that it's certainly something that we can look into, and it may not necessarily be a different group that we are able to target to, but it's more the wording of our marketing materials that we may be able to tweak to try to reach those folks. So yeah, I do appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, and I think that could be a way to sort of market our services with condo boards too, because of course it benefits a condo board to have more owners rather than renters, or at least there's like a perception of there being a benefit there. So something to think about for sure.
Very useful.
But one of the things, just as far as condos, that we are starting to work on, and is one of the goals that came out of our homeownership study, was to really improve our work with condos and kind of what we offer to condo boards and condo owners. So we're hoping to make some strides there in the next few years, but sort of getting started on all that.
Yep.
Anyone have any other questions for Akiria? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Akiria. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, Laura, I will turn it back over to you.
So I think now, where are we at? Let me count. I think we have enough people.
We do.
Or members of the committee to go back to our first and only action item for the night, which is approval of the January meeting minutes. Have folks had a chance to take a look at that? Do we have anyone interested in a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of approval of our January meeting minutes?
Aye.
McCoy, I saw a hand. Is that an aye?
That's an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, I think that approves our January 7th meeting minutes. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
And, okay, so we heard from our 3 non-competitive community development fund programs. That's always interesting and exciting to hear from them. And so I think next up, we talk about the FY 27 to 31 citizen participation plan.
Yes, and I will.
2031 feels like a long time from now.
I know. It sneaks up on us though. Every 5 years, we're like, here we go again. Okay, so I'm gonna just give a quick overview of what the citizen participation plan is, and this is just an information item. We're sort of information / discussion. We're kind of looking to get everyone's feedback and understand if you're okay with sort of the direction we're going with here. But I'm just going to give a quick kind of overview of what the citizen participation plan is, because it's a little bit esoteric and not really something we talk about very often. So essentially, HUD requires that entitlement communities who are developing a consolidated plan to also create what's called a citizen participation plan. And the citizen participation plan is essentially the document that dictates how communities are going to conduct outreach to the community when they're developing planning documents and doing some other things related to utilizing their CDBG and home funds. We update this every 5 years, and it's sort of in the past been a way to it's kind of like checking a box. But this year, what we wanted to do was really take a close look at it and make sure that the plan is more closely aligned with the federal regulations. We wanted to sort of set some more clear expectations about what the public engagement recommendations are. We're sort of simplifying the plan quite a bit. And then we wanted to reduce some of the unnecessary detail that was in there while maintaining compliance with the federal regulations. So really not going beyond what's required, except for in certain circumstances. The regulations are pretty prescriptive about what you are supposed to do. So we just wanted to make sure that the plan complies with that, but then also be pretty clear about what exactly we are planning to do. The existing plan has a very detailed list of stakeholders and requirements and neighborhoods that we are saying that we're going to engage with. The participation requirements are pretty scattered throughout the plan, and it doesn't have as updated or more recent virtual participation allowances in our previous plan that we think should be included in here. So our goals for this revised plan are really to make it more clear, more flexible, easier to implement and maintain, and then, but also, like I said, maintain that full compliance with the regulations. So I'm just going to go quickly as far as like what's changing and what's staying the same. So as far as our outreach methods, we're sort of still going to be using the county website as the primary posting location for all of our draft and final plans and notices. Email distribution to this sort of broad stakeholder list is still, part of the plan. We're required to provide notices in a newspaper of general circulation, so that stays in there. But as far as what's improved with the revised plan, the expectations for outreach are consolidated into one section. So before it was kind of scattered throughout as far as what we were planning to do as far as outreach. So for this, we are narrowing it down to one section of the plan. So it's very clear as to what we're going to be doing, to make sure that people know about our planning processes. It adds language that enables the county to use alternative outreach methods, so social media, flyers, posters, online tools, in certain circumstances, but it doesn't necessarily require it. And then it also clarifies that hard copies are available upon request, which is a requirement that HUD has. As far as public engagement strategies, we're still maintaining 2 public hearings each program year. That's a statutory requirement. The public comment periods are remaining the same. These are also required by HUD, minimum 30 days for consolidated plan and action plans, minimum 15 days for CAPERS. And the engagement opportunities were sort of, it's not changing that the engagement opportunities are for these planning documents. We, again, consolidated some of these engagement strategies into one section so that it's much clearer about sort of what the opportunities for engagement on our planning documents is. We are sort of made it pretty clear that the framing for our public hearings each year this is going to be 1 needs hearing and then 1 hearing on draft plans. So previously it just said we were doing 2 public hearings, and now we're sort of very clear that 1 will be on the needs and 1 is on the draft. As far as stakeholder groups, the current iteration of the plan includes a very broad universe of stakeholders, and it gets a little bit specific about, who we're going to be reaching out to. The CDCAC is going to remain a central advisory role in the planning and review of our planning documents. What we did wind up doing was we removed a static list of neighborhoods that are sort of considered low and moderate income, and we reframed it as predominantly LMI neighborhoods. And this is really mainly to allow some flexibility with any census-driven changes. So in case there are neighborhoods that kind of fluctuate, we don't have to update the plan to say, well, this one isn't an LMI neighborhood anymore, this one is. And that's consistent with the CFR. It also consolidated a very long list of commissions and stakeholders into sort of categories of stakeholders and commissions. So we don't have to necessarily say, we will reach out to all of these groups. It's sort of, we will broadly reach out to groups that meet this definition. We are maintaining information in the plan about location, accessibility, and format, but it's now in one section. It kind of talks about where these hearings and opportunities will be taking place at convenient times and locations, how everything is ADA and Section 504 compliant, given that there are federal funds involved. Interpretation and language assistance can be provided as needed. And it also allows, this will allow for, we have a new section on virtual and hybrid options, just consistent with how we've been practicing the last 5 years as far as allowing virtual participation in our meetings. It also standardizes public notice requirements for our hearings and clarifies how residents can access interpretation and accommodation assistance. We also wanted to make it more clear about the applicability of citizen participation requirements for other cross-cutting federal requirements like our anti-displacement and relocation plans and also NEPA processes. So it just is clarifying that the citizen participation requirements are applicable to those, any changes or processes that involve anti-displacement or environmental reviews. And that wasn't necessarily in the plan before. But as far as everything else, we're not changing any sort of opportunities related to public input. People will still have the ability to provide input on our plans and our programs. We're not eliminating the number of hearings or comment periods. It does not remove CDCAC's role. CDCAC's role is still very prominent in the entire process. We're not limiting who can participate. We're not changing the process for amendments to any of our planning documents. So if we need to make changes, the sort of process that we went before that we had in our previous plan is going to remain the same, and that's largely due to those requirements being pretty prescriptive by HUD. So we're not necessarily going beyond what HUD already requires, because it's pretty set in stone. And we're also not changing any of the methodology for how we are evaluating or measuring the progress that we make on our citizen participation plan, because that is also very prescribed by HUD, and that is done through our CAPER process. But it's just now memorialized in a section in the citizen participation plan that kind of outlines how progress is evaluated. So yeah, this is just kind of a summary of what we are proposing, and this will be included with the consolidated plan that's submitted to HUD after it is approved by the board in April. And you guys are going to be seeing the consolidated plan in March, which is when we will have our hearing, public needs hearing on the draft plan. And if approved by this committee and then the board, the consolidated plan along with the citizen participation plan will be submitted to HUD. So with that, and just sort of some of the changes that I just went over, and then if, in case you had the opportunity to review the plan that I had sent via email in advance, does anyone have, I just put up some questions that, you can feel free to consider as you're sort of thinking about it. If anyone has any questions or thoughts about additional things that should be in the citizen participation plan, now is the opportunity to bring that up. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in.
So Caitlin, I think my question is simply like, it looks to me like, confirm this is right. It looks to me like not very much about how things are actually done is changing. It's more about just how it's described and how it's like simplified and made more clear.
That was the intent. That was the intent. It was really to kind of pull things out into more easy to read sections, and so it adds a little bit more transparency to what we're supposed to do, and then keeping us sort of everyone sort of informed about what the expectations are.
And I think, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, my only thought in terms of, I guess, probably question 2, would this plan be clear to the public if they were reading it for the first time? My only suggestion is, I don't know what flexibility we have, but if there were a version of that introductory paragraph and maybe the purpose that was like written in like very, very layman's terms, like what is this and what does this have to do with me?
Okay.
As a member of the public, like maybe don't change what's there, but like add another thing that says like, this is what this is how it relates to you. And now if you care enough to keep reading, you're on your own to like figure out the rest. The rest of it is, it's all clear. It's just, I'm not sure I would know whether I care about this from reading the introductory paragraph.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I can definitely make some updates to that first paragraph to make it a little bit more clear for folks.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret, did you have a thought too?
Oh, I was just going to say that the Housing Commission had a community engagement subcommittee that met for a good portion of the year and put together, oh God, I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but I want to say like 80 suggestions. And it might be useful. I mean, I also appreciate that, this has prescriptive parameters and, you don't want to necessarily rock the boat too much. But to the degree that you just take a glance at that before you finalize this, there was a lot of effort. They did focus groups, they did all sorts of things. They did outreach to a lot of community organizations and less groups that and individuals that have seemingly been less engaged and such, and tried to find out, what are the ways that you might otherwise engage more readily and such. So to the degree that has any use, I think it's worth taking a look at.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that for sure.
Alex certainly has it, and I think it's actually even on the website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other thoughts? All right. Well, not hearing anything. And again, you'll have another opportunity to take a look at the final plan along with our consolidated plan before it's submitted to HUD. There will be other opportunities to provide input, so this is not your last chance. And we are moving through the process with the consolidated plan, and we're hoping to have it released in the next couple weeks or so. So get excited. All right, so Laura, I will turn it back over to you.
So I think we get to talk about the community development tour, which will be in April, right?
Yes.
So Caitlin, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Ask you. I was going to ask if what I think we're doing is the right thing, which is I think we're talking about where we might go and what programs we might get to visit, right? And so Caitlin, you probably have some thoughts in mind, but.
Well, we were actually hoping to get everyone's thoughts here. And because I think we're starting to, we talked about it a little bit last month, but I thought that it would be another good, thing to bring up again, just to see if folks have any suggestions, any programs that they've been kind of interested in seeing in action. So yeah, if you have any ideas, feel free to throw them out. And let us know.
Sort of hoping you have a list of the current programs, because I'm sure there are ones I would be interested in seeing, but I'm just not thinking about.
Sure. Let me pull that up, and if anyone has any thoughts while I do that, please do not wait for me. It's going to take me a minute.
And I guess, are there any programs we know about that are in some way co-located or could be for the purposes of like visiting them? Because I know planning the logistics of all of it is a thing and keeping timing and getting on the bus. And so if there was a way to see more than one program.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That would be good.
Let me share my screen. So I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, it almost fits on the full screen, but not quite. Okay, so trying to think of programs that are co-located.
And I'm also thinking about programs where it would actually be, there would be somebody there at the time of evening that we would go there.
Yeah. We could ask True Ground to we could go to Ballston Station, and we could also ask them to meet with their PSH coordinator who is funded through AHIF Housing Services. They're in their, I think their first year right now. As far as I understand, that program is going really well. I know they've already hired the individual. I know she kind of works across their portfolio, but that could be an opportunity there. And this
Yeah,
is
I think it's pretty cool to go to the new housing, the new affordable housing communities. It's always neat to kind of set foot in those buildings and kind of see what it really looks like and watch people come and go through the lobby and see them sort of in their homes.
Yeah, no, I agree. We could try Clothesline. I'm sure they'll be open at that time. So that's an option.
That would be nice.
Well, we'll also just say that the Housing Commission, which has like more heavily encouraged their membership to come on the tour as well, is very interested in trying to get more exposure to our AHIF, and our CAF units and properties. So
okay. So yeah, maybe this is a good opportunity.
Having an AHIF funded site be one of the properties is very useful.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do, is anyone interested? Let me know if anything jumps out, and I will highlight, but we could try the Clothesline. I think that they used to be located over off of Pershing, but I don't know if they're still there. We could see if LADC is doing a homeownership counseling class. Be interesting to peek in on that. We tried to get the Fenwick Foundation to meet us with their bus last year. We could try that again.
I know people had talked about like wanting to check out the dental program, some dental something, if that was a possibility.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it would just be cool to see the dental lab.
It would be cool. So yeah, we can see about that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I think it was Elizabeth that just said I too would be, curious to see Kitchen of Purpose, but
okay. Yeah, we can try
that. That depends on, what if they're running anything at that time of day. So that could be not the case. So we might be able to do a tour of their facility. I don't know that they'll have any classes, but we can ask. And then the other thing is that we could also ask our stomping ground to do something because they are co-located at Gilliam Place. Oh, okay. Okay.
So that could be an opportunity to do.
Okay.
To hit both.
A co-location. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We haven't done Aspire in a long time, so we could try that. I know the Alliance for Arlington Senior Programs. I'm sure they would be able to make something work if we were interested in popping in on one of their classes. They do classes all the time in the evening. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a few options.
I really like the Aspire program. I think it would be neat to see them. I kind of took that off my list because I thought we wouldn't be able to be there at a time when the kids are actually there. But if we could, that'd be cool.
I'll reach out to them again and see, if they could make something happen there.
And then I'll just say, I know we're coming up with way more than we can actually, see, but I'm pretty sure, and Caitlin, you can verify, I think it was Edu Futuro where we saw them at Wakefield High School. Is that the program?
A couple years ago.
I mean, I was just so impressed by the kids that we heard from and the public speaking that they did in front of a group of 50 adults I was just amazed. So it was really impressive to see, and they brought so many kids, and it was cool to hear from them.
Yeah, they're a great group. Anyone have any other
That's where I
thoughts?
was wondering, so if communities and schools that's when we've gotten such good reports of that would, and I haven't seen that one, so
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that's ever been included, but it certainly hasn't been included in the last several years, so.
Yeah, the school ones are hard to coordinate.
Yeah. And I
but
appreciate that.
but I will see, and this one is, because they've kind of transitioned to more of a case management and sort of family support model, there might be something that they could pull together for us. So I will ask them.
Oh, the one other is Path Forward.
Yeah.
So that's another possibility.
Okay. All right. Well, we still have time. If you think of anything else, send me an email, shoot me give me a call. We can, but we will start reaching out to some folks to see what we can pull together. And like Laura said, we can't do all of these, but we will do our best to do what we can.
Well, and this way you have, because there's presumably some of them are going to be say, no, that doesn't work, options. Or whatever. Yeah. So that way you have options.
Multiple options. Yes, for sure. All right. Well, thank you guys for those suggestions. I guess, Laura, did you have any chair reports?
I do not have a chair report.
Okay, and I do not have a staff report. So I think the staff report is, we are, I guess I'll just say that we are getting ready to release the consolidated plan, like I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, hopefully in the next week, 2 weeks, and you will obviously be on the distribution list there. We will be doing our sort of big review and discussion on the consolidated plan at the March meeting. And that will be, again, in person, and hybrid participation available. All right, any member reports?
I'll just make a plea that the Housing Commission is down several members. So if anybody knows of folks that might be interested in the Housing Commission, they are definitely looking for members. So.
All right, sounds good.
All right, sounds like we're wrapped up, so we can go ahead and adjourn.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
All next month. Stay warm.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.